Grasshopper. One dry day in late autumn, a family of ants were bustling about in the warm sunshine, drying out the grain they had stored up during the summer, when a starving grasshopper, his fiddle under his arm, came up and humbly begged for a bite to eat. "What?" cried the ants in surprise. "Haven't you stored anything away for the winter? What in the world were you doing all last summer?" "I didn't have time to store up any food," whined the grasshopper. "I was so busy making music that before I knew it the summer was gone." The ants shrugged their shoulders in disgust. "Making music, were you?" they cried. "Very well, now dance." And they turned their backs on the grasshopper and went on with their work. The ass carrying the image. A sacred image was being carried to the temple. It was mounted on an ass adorned with garlands and gorgeous trappings. A grand procession of priests and pages followed it through the streets. As the ass walked along, the people bowed their heads reverently or fell on their knees, and the ass thought the honor was being paid to himself. With his head full of this foolish idea, he became so puffed up with pride and vanity that he halted and started to bray loudly. But in the midst of his song, his driver guessed what the ass had got into his head and began to beat him unmercifully with a stick. "Go along with you, you stupid ass," he cried. "The honor is not meant for you, but for the image you are carrying." The boys and the frogs. Some boys were playing one day at the edge of a pond in which lived a family of frogs. The boys amused themselves by throwing stones into the pond so as to make them skip on top of the water. The stones were flying thick and fast, and the boys were enjoying themselves very much, but the poor frogs in the pond were trembling with fear. At last one of the frogs, the oldest and bravest, put his head out of the water and said, "Oh, please, dear children, stop your cruel play, though it may be fun for you. It means death to us." The rat and the elephant. A rat was traveling along the king's highway. He was a very proud rat, considering his small size and the bad reputation of rats have. As Mr. Rat walked along, he kept mostly to the ditch. He noticed a great commotion off the road, and soon a grand procession came in view. It was the king and his retinue. The king rode on a huge elephant adorned with the most gorgeous trappings. With the king in his luxurious powder wore the royal dog and cat. A great crowd of people followed the procession. They were so taken up with the admiration of the elephant that the rat was not noticed. His pride was hurt. "What fools!" he cried. "Look at me, and you will soon forget the clumsy elephant. Is it his great size that makes your eyes pop out, or is it his wrinkled hide? Why, I have eyes and ears and as many legs as he. I am of just as much importance." But just then the royal cat spied him, and the next instant the rat knew he was not quite so important as the elephant. The wolf and his shadow. The wolf left his lair one evening in fine spirits and an excellent appetite. As he ran, the setting sun cast his shadow far out on the ground, and it looked as if the wolf were 100 times bigger than he really was. "Why," exclaimed the wolf proudly, "see how big I am! Fancy me running away from a puny lion! I will show him who is fit to be king, he or I." Just then, an immense shadow blotted him out entirely, and the next instant a lion struck him down with a single blow.